right now, the next great idea in Rotary is sitting in the mind of somebody in some Anytown, USA Rotary Club, and they're afraid to say something about it. Rotary doesn't design the programs that we do. Rotarians do.
Hey, Patrick, man, oh man, welcome back, buddy. Well, we'll take your
Yes,
phone call.
Anthony.
I'll bring the intro in myself. Welcome, everybody, to Membership Unplugged. This is our weekly member cast where we talk about all things membership. I'm Todd Shepard, that's Patrick Longano, Mr. All Business. He's been on the phone, it seems, all morning and talking about membership, and he's busy. So, hey, I'm going to lead this off myself because we want to talk about some real fun things. We've both been busy going to some of these different district conferences, and maybe you've had your conference already, or maybe not yet. But what a hoot! If you haven't had a chance to go, you got to go. It's a lot of fun. I just attended the most beautiful area that I've been in a long time, and that's Victoria, British Columbia, District 5020. A real nice group of folks up there. A lot of fabulous clubs, and also I came back from our own district conference that was held in Sandpoint, Idaho. So we had fun. So, hey, Patrick, welcome back.
Well, I was waiting for that call for about an hour and a half, and of course, the second you kick off the member cast, boom, get
That's
that
how
call.
it works.
That's how it works.
You're a parent. I'm a parent, and I think you know that the more important the phone call, when you put it up to your ear, that tells children it's time to start yelling and misbehaving. They could be quiet for hours. That phone rings, you put it to your ear, they go nuts. Did you ever experience that?
All the time, or they're going, I'm hungry. Yeah, yeah, I've been there. Yeah,
So
that's
I
it.
was just sharing a little bit about my travels lately to a couple
Uh,
of district conferences. I know you went to one,
yeah,
a couple.
I went to 5010
Where was that?
in Alaska.
Oh
I don't know if you know
man.
this, yeah, the district up there, the whole state of Alaska is one district. And it was great. I mean, almost 300 people at the district conference. Great speakers, great district. It was awesome. And then this week, I'm going up to another great district, going up to 6360 for Jackie Huey's district conference up there in Michigan. So
Oh,
it's at
Michigan.
yeah,
Okay.
they're having it at a carousel thing. It's like a double-decker carousel. I'm like, my wife is like, "You going?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be on the horse."
All
You know what I
right.
mean? Yeah, so it's
Ride
gonna be a
that
good time.
horse.
Oh
So
yeah.
I get on the airplane
Mhm.
and I board and I fly to Seattle. And then I get on my flight in Seattle and I'm sitting there and the back of my seat's kind of bumping. I turn around and there's do you know Michael Angelo Caruso? He's like a
Oh yeah.
keynote speaker,
Yeah,
and
he was at he
he
was
wasn't really kicking my seat, but
at,
I was giving him a hard time about that and everything. So we had a nice chance to visit a little bit. He was heading up there too. He was the keynote,
yeah,
and yeah, he's kind of a hoot. So we had a good time visiting.
yeah, he was up in 5010 with me. And actually, the funny part, full circle, he was up in 5010 with me. Him and Renee, his wife Renee.
She was there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can tell. I mean, she's amazing. She's an amazing speaker too. But the district that I'm going to, 6360 this week, is their home district.
Yeah, he lives over there. They
Yeah, he
just
lives
flew
over there.
back. I saw on Facebook and such like that. So
Cool.
anyway, nice, good time to visit and everything.
Oh yeah.
So one thing, I was talking not necessarily about membership. I was talking a little bit about artificial intelligence and tied a little bit because I believe that AI can work with us to help us accomplish our Rotary Action Plan, which leads to membership and such. And we talked a little bit about that and some of the tools, and then opened up a few little conversations about making sure we're doing smart AI and using it in a wise way. And I'll give you an example of that. You know, it uses a lot of electricity. People, you talk about that, the ecological benefits or the
Yeah.
negative impact. And one little tip that I've learned is that if we're doing a search online, use the search tool. Don't use the AI tool just to do a simple search. Did you know that it takes 10 times as much electricity to do an AI search for something like where can I get a sandwich in my local neighborhood than it does to uh, do it on a
Google it.
regular search.
Yeah.
So
No,
anyway,
no,
that's
no, absolutely. That's actually kind of a neat thing because I saw somebody that I know and love, my wife, who's was like never on AI, never did anything, has just started recently. She's like, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, and I'm like, you know, you still got Google search. You can go ahead and find it. What I'm afraid of, honest to goodness, it's just really neat, and I'm glad that you did this, did that talk and bring it up. When I first moved up to where I live right now, about 25 years ago, when I got up here, I asked somebody for a number to the tire store, and he goes 7910. And I said, I don't know where you're coming from, but where I come from, there's 7 digits in a phone number. But they were so here, they knew exactly what it was, and that was it. They knew what the first three numbers would be. Since we've really started getting into like smartphones and we started having all those, I used to remember every single number. If you said, "Hey, what's Michelle's number down in Orlando?" I'd be like, "Ba-da-da-da-da-da," and I'd rattle it off. I couldn't even remember the area code now if you asked me.
isn't
So
that funny? We just
I
hit their
know.
name and
I know. And now I'm worried now I'm worried that, this next iteration of that, what's gonna take away from us. You know what I mean? It took away us having to memorize the names and memorize all those phone numbers. When you were in the business that you were in, buddy, how many you knew the numbers, man. You knew the digits, you
I
knew
knew the
the
common numbers.
yeah.
I've made a zillion phone calls,
Oh yeah.
and I got good at dialing numbers and recognizing if they called back. Do you remember
Well,
your home phone number when you were a kid?
yeah, let's see. It was oh my gosh. No, I'll give you one better.
What's
I
that?
remember my driver's license number from 40 years ago from
I
my first.
remember my first driver's license number, and they changed those numbers here a few years ago. And
Oh, do you?
I wouldn't recognize it if it ran into me on the street.
Yeah,
But
my dad always told me, he said, if you memorize this number, if you ever go somewhere without it and the police officer pulls you over, I'm sorry, sir, I forgot my license, but I do have the number. It did work one time too, by the way. And he's like, oh, that's pretty neat that you know your number. But what I was saying is I'm afraid what's gonna take away on that. Are we gonna forget to learn how to write? Because a lot of people are writing with it. Are we gonna forget sentence structure or forget the personality portion of the writing? Is it all going to be this? So I'm not concerned AI is going to take over the world or anything like this. I'm just wondering what little portion we're going to lose of ourselves by
well, that's
keeping that
I
part out.
think that's definitely could happen. I think maybe Albert Einstein said he'd write things down so that he'd have more room in his mind to think. So you write down. Sometimes people say I write down things that I don't need to remember. And then I also look at things. I remember a movie called Idiocracy. Do you remember that? And I don't remember the full premise, but it was something like this guy comes from the past, or maybe he was, I don't know, like Rip Van Winkle or something. He came into the future and he was just a regular dude, not even the sharpest tack in the box.
Hmm.
All the people in the future, though, had become so dumb, idiots, that he was their president and their genius. And they were stumbling around trying to figure out how to make plants grow or something. And idiocracy. Maybe I should dust that old stupid movie off and watch it sometime again. Uh,
That's funny.
that's I saw
Well,
they're
how can
talking about different types of AI and
yeah.
how that next generation they're working on that
Hmm.
AGI that's supposed to be smarter than people. It's not. I mean, it's not something that's happening right now. They're working towards that. I read the other day, I think Sam Altman or someone said that it was like a 50% chance that we may see that coming into play as early as 2040 to 2060.
Yeah.
So it's a ways off, but I don't think the world's coming to an end. At least for
I
another
think there's
20, at least for another 20 years, we're probably safe
I
safe
think I
before.
think I think there's a strong chance that it takes over the internet, that the internet that as we know it now, like you were saying, search engines and stuff like this are going to be gone. You know what I mean? Not gone, but that's that Nick. This is that next iteration of that. But I'm going to ask you a question related to membership because
Yeah,
this is membership.
that's right.
Um,
Membership unplugged,
membership unplugged.
and I think
How
it came unplugged.
I know that it's going to I know that it's going to make public image easier. Um, I know that it's going to make several things easier in a club, but what can it do for membership? I mean, the way that I recruit is a lot of heart. You know what I mean? One-on-one talking and stuff like this to somebody. What's it gonna do? I mean, I know it can be a lead generator, but what's it gonna do in your opinion? In your opinion, what do you see it doing for membership in the future?
That's a great question, and I don't feel that we're going to replace the human aspect. In fact, I a couple months ago we had the session with Londa and David on. You remember that their podcast,
Oh
Londa
yeah,
and David.
love them. Yeah.
And I was watching one of their session podcasts the other day, and they were talking about AI. And Londa says that, she hears people worried that they're going to replace people with AI. And she says, you're not replacing people with AI. It's the people that know how to work with it are going to be replacing the people that don't know how to work with it.
That's a good
And
response by Londa.
yeah, and so that it's kind of a lead in to where I'm going with that. How can we harness this to help build membership? And I think the secret lies in the connection with the Rotary Action Plan.
Hmm.
Because we can use these tools to help us plan events or fundraisers and such that help us be more efficient in our impact. And by doing that, it allows us to have a little better engagement with our members. Like, for instance, if you take the time, if you're going to put on an event, you pancake feed or something like that, and you take the time to put in AI, how do I get this going? And what's the format?
Yeah.
It will help create a very comprehensive outline of the steps that you go somewhere like that. And that in itself is typically a 2 to 3 hour meeting at the board meeting just to get to that point. This is a starting point. You could do that. It breaks it into separate segments, and then you could break different parties from your board committees or what have you. Someone could handle the purchasing or the cost. Someone can handle what do we do for setup and cleanup? What do we do for marketing? It gives you all that, everything from licensing. So it gives you some good tips. And I think when we start talking about increasing our efficiencies by tools like that, reducing those meetings and increasing the fun stuff that we can do, that engagement helps make um, a, a better place for us to play
I
in
think
in Rotary, and then that becomes more attractive to potential new members.
I think that it's I think what you're saying is a really good vantage point to start from. I need a good base. You know what I mean? We've
Yeah,
got a good base here in our Rotary Club, but we want to move it a little bit more progressive or a little bit more whatever it is.
yeah.
Help us get a very good base. These are the types of things that we believe in. These are the types of things that we want to do. We're aligned with the Rotary Action Plan. And what I'd like to do is have a conversation with the board of directors. What are some of these good starting base points that we should start with? I mean, I think it's, maybe as an assistant type thing, um, would be would help is a good place for somebody to start. on that.
A
Um,
creative assistant or a creative
yeah,
partner
yeah,
is
somebody
like
that's.
that.
Yeah.
So,
I actually was talking with somebody the other day who uses the voice portion of
yeah.
chat or one of the other ones,
Oh, there's a
and
lot of
when
them.
they go out for a walk, they click it on and they have a conversation. I was like, oh man, that's
Oh, yeah, there's counseling sessions and now something there in that when you're having a conversation and
Mhm.
let's say sometimes you have this conversation with a friend and you're maybe being negative or maybe being frustrated or you're like feeling you have your ideas and then you talk to your friend. Now, a good friend's going to say, hey, listen, I appreciate where you're coming from. I was wondering if maybe you take a look at it from a different angle and maybe enlighten you and give you a little bit of feedback. Yeah, a good friend's going to do that rather than saying, oh, yes, Patrick, you're right. Like that old Twilight Zone movie. That kid, that little, everyone was scared of him. Oh, Anthony, you're a good boy. You do
Oh
this.
yeah.
We really like it when you put three legs on the head of a a mole or whatever. So that's what AI tends to do, unless you instruct it to, hey, give me a little pushback. Don't just accept everything I say and be on my side and tell me how smart I am and how dumb everybody else is. It'll do that for you because
Yeah,
it's
no,
geared to
that's
make you
what I did
feel
on
good.
mine. I wanted mine to challenge every single point. Anybody who knows me knows I like to argue.
Hmm.
So there was
Go
a prompt
figure.
that I saw when I first got started. I got lucky too, because when I first got started kind of playing around with it, I saw this gentleman who wrote a prompt that said, you know, and I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but it was basically do not agree with me if you do, you know what I mean, and to
Yeah.
challenge everything and to come with facts and evidence and the whole nine yards. So it actually makes a pretty good sparring partner for me. I mean, I enjoy that. I enjoy getting into discussion on something and saying this is what I believe in, and have somebody come back and say, "Hey, now wait a second, this I think it should be."
Oh, yeah.
Just gives you that opportunity to challenge. I've found that really because that person is quick. You know what I mean? It's like me and you have a discussion. I'm not saying you're not quick, Todd, but we're having a normal conversation. If it's with that sucker, you might have to think about it for a second and go, oh, that's pretty cool. But here's that thing comes with like facts and evidence like instantly, and you have to be
Yeah.
at the top of your game. And I'll tell you, I have lost more arguments with that stupid machine.
Well, the
It's crazy.
difference also is when you bring up something, and I'm like, okay, point counterpoint. I, as a human being, we're talking. I'll pause a little bit and say, okay, before I speak, I want to make sure that I don't come across too strong or make you feel bad. I want to validate what you're thinking,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Whereas chat online AI, if you tell it not to, it say, I don't need you to validate me. I need you to challenge me. You wouldn't normally enjoy a conversation with someone for too long if they're battling you all the time, and that may be part of it when you're working with a human being. Of course, the human connection is that understanding and being empathetic to other people's
Oh yeah.
and validating is an important part of how we communicate, which until AI is capable of that, that's going to be a huge difference between
What
that and human beings, I
What
think.
were some of the questions that you got asked this past weekend? I'm really interested in this because this wasn't in your district. They had you come up to another district, right? Victoria, BC?
Yes, yeah. So what happened is I had there was a new segment that was called AI and Rotary that was offered at President-elect Learning Seminar this year, and I'm a learning leader. And they said, "Hey, we need a couple people to facilitate this course." So I did. I took the course and to facilitate it and kind of help a little bit on the design. And then also Scott Learned, who was on our
Guy.
earlier, like in
Yep.
January, he
Oh
took
yeah.
it. This guy's super good at this
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And he
Oh
did a
yeah.
great job. And so Scott and I were facilitating these courses. And then it seemed to be well taken, and people seemed to like it. And so I was asked to go up to this 50/20s district conference in Victoria and say, "Hey, could you do a couple of segments on artificial intelligence and Rotary?" Now, a couple of interesting things is, well, for one, doing a presentation like that is a little different because it's not facilitative. It's a lot of people. And so I had to kind of change the way it was presented. So it's not quite like a classroom. And the other thing is that things are different from when it was first created or first started being created in August of last year in preparation for PELS. Things are different now. See, the AI technology and things has continued to change. So I had to kind of I took some of the stuff that was in there and that we had originally and adjusted a little bit, expanded it, and I think it came out pretty good. There's certainly in an hour and 15 minutes you really can't cover everything, and nor
It,
could I do it even in 20 hours. I don't know
was
everything
it
about
filmed?
AI. I don't know. I don't think anyone was filming it. Uh, it was a
It
had to
would have
be
been real
there
neat
thing.
to. It would have been real neat to film it and be able to put it on there for everybody.
Yeah, that would have
That would
been
have been a
kind
neat
of cool.
conference.
It was a real nice conference, and boy, what a beautiful area up there.
I think it
And
might actually be a really good idea to go ahead and do that presentation and then and film it there, even if you're not on stage and stuff like this, film it and then drop it on the YouTube channel because I think, it's unique because you have people that are just talking about membership or excuse me, that are talking about AI and every single one that I've been to for Rotary is all come from the public image standpoint.
sure,
All
sure,
come from the public image standpoint. I think that you being you, you have public image background, you have that sort of thing, but
yeah.
with the obvious talent on the from the membership side, it might be a really good thing. Or maybe you do a modified one and get it out there on the thing, maybe 15-minute little presentation on how to use AI for membership. I think that might be a really um, get started like a lesson one and then a lesson two. Maybe we could put something out there like that. Because I think from what I've used it for and with the way that you're going and the way that you're explaining it, I think that's kind of a specialty. And not coming from the public, just strictly from a public image standpoint. What were some of the questions? Did you
So
find that some of the questions that they gave did they all have like the same question or is it all over the board?
it can be a little bit different. And typically, in that type of a thing, we end up with a lot of similar questions.
Hmm.
Um, Part of the lead in is hey, what do you think about AI? When I say artificial intelligence, what do you think about? So you get a lot of some positives, but a lot of fearful questions or a lot of fearful comments. And so part of the agenda that I had was to kind of maybe let's see if we can make it feel a little more comfortable or less fearful. And a lot of questions on where do I go? How do I even access it? I think that's uh, people are unsure. I hear a lot about it, and what does it mean? And what is AI? And I hear so much about it, and I hear a lot of fear about it. And there's so much written or said online about the how bad it can be, right? And there are bad things. Hey, let's be realistic. The ecological impact can be quite negative, because it takes a lot of power and it takes a lot of water for these data centers to keep them cool and to keep them running. On the flip side, what's really unique is that the what it offers is the ability to help us solve ecological problems. So there's your double-edged sword. You have so much ability to solve large problems, yet it takes so much resources to do its thing. I think there's a lot to be said there and a lot of studying that will probably need to take place to get a good balance. They call that, when you're using a lot of AI, they call that blue AI. And then
Really?
they have green AI is when you're using renewable resources to support it. So some of these smaller artificial intelligence tools will use renewable resources. They're not as powerful. They're not as high hitting as maybe Chat GPT 3 or something. but they're more focused on the green movement. So there's a lot to dig into, and I'm certainly no specialist on any of that. I just think that it was a lot of fun, and it's fun to see when people try it out that were fearful, and then they try and say, "Oh, I see how this works, and this could be fun." And there's so many things you can do with it, and I like your idea of doing you know, like doing something broad on video. Almost thinking, I'll give a little peek under the covers. You and I have had a discussion about doing a live membership, weekend or a live membership summit or something of sorts, either live online or live in person, and having a series of different conversations and seminars. That would certainly be a good one to include, I
Well,
would think,
I
when
would think so.
we put that together. So there you go, folks. That's a little peek under the covers of something that's coming. I hope I didn't spill the beans too early, Patrick.
Well, I mean, I think that this thing continues to keeps evolving. This is not an information thing. You know what I mean? The North American Club Creation Team has never been a information thing. We give out information, of course, but it's never been about information. It's about I mean, you were talking before, guided implementation. That's exactly what it is. We teach the how and we do it with you. And I think that so many times in Rotary we'll go to, my God, if I get invited to one more meeting, I
Oh
think I'm
boy.
just gonna jump off the building here. It's only one story, but just this protest. Um, I want to go. So if I'm hooking up to something, if I'm going to something, I better come away with a tool to get something done that I wanted to get done. And I think that that's what people are starting to kind of realize. And I said this, and me and you have continued to just keep pushing this. Rotary doesn't design the programs that we do. Rotarians do. And I think that there are far more of us out there that right now, the next great idea in Rotary is sitting in the mind of somebody in some Anytown, USA Rotary Club, and they're afraid to say something about it. I want that person to have a space that they can go
Yeah,
and workshop. That's what it is. We're not
there
doing
you
some
go.
we're going to workshop these things with people and help guide them through that next evolution of it. How many have you done this year? Clubs that you've done and helped, and people that you've been on that you went, oh my God. I mean, you know what I mean? That we would have never known, or maybe have never been able to foster, coming through there. I think it is, and just imagine the people that we haven't been able to get to. So I think little short burst workshops will allow people to learn, but also teach us that next great thing and we can help foster their idea. Is, I mean, there's several people who cleared the path for me. I know, same thing with you. You're one of them for me, but I mean, can you imagine? I knew the same way, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that's
Did you,
and
I mean,
and when you start talking about that, like with the club creation team
yeah.
and the doors that are opened, I think what does it use? This was it Larry Lunsford that said this: the club creation team is the path forward to growing membership. He said that,
Yeah.
and I thought that's great. And how does that look? And then we start talking about creating lasting impact, which is the new theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
And ways that we can shift to more flexible meeting structures to bring people in. The club creation team is how that's getting done. And you asked me how many. I got to tell you, I don't know how many clubs.
Crazy,
We
isn't it?
we have people go to the club creation team app. They book a step one and they say, "Hey, I'm interested in forming a standalone Rotary Club, or I'm interested in forming a satellite or companion club or impact club, or I want to do a Rotaract club." Uh, and we're there to answer that. And What's the percentages? I know you know these. So we
I've looked at these from everything
officially
but yeah.
launched in July, right, of
Yep.
last year. Although there was some work done before then, the official launch of the Club Creation Team app and
Mhm.
everything was done at Calgary
We did.
International Convention. I was there, you were there. You
Oh,
launched it. How many clubs or what percentage of the clubs has been ran through the Club Creation Team and guided by someone on our team or a group of someone's on our team? Do you
since
know the
July
percentage?
1st, yeah, since July 1st to April 30th, okay?
Okay.
July 1st through, so year to date, basically. It on companions and satellite clubs, it's right at 49%, right at 50%. You know what I mean?
Wow,
So
half.
49%, half of all the companion satellite clubs done in the United States and Canada, so North America there, are being done through the North American Club Creation Team. Now, that is not including the ones you inspire to go do. You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
come to a session and they did it themselves or whatever. But that's just strictly the ones that we did. And here's the shocker one. Okay, so I'll give you this one, but then I'll explain it. So standalone clubs.
Hmm.
Okay, so standalone Rotary clubs.
Brand new Rotary clubs.
Brand new Rotary clubs. We're doing close to a third of all brand new standalone clubs in the United States and Canada since July 1st. Now, to quantify that is since December 1st, so the last 5 months, after Rotary had made their change, this December 1st through now, we are, what's it called, at 52%.
Of the standalone clubs.
Yeah, from December 1st
Wow.
through now, the last 5 months. But since July 1st, we're at a third. And the reason it'll only get bigger and bigger is because, the majority of the clubs that started this year, if you take a look at the listing, are going to be, other than us, are going to be like, they're going to hit in certain periods. But you see this huge of new clubs all of July and the first week or two of August. And when I first started doing this, I used to think I was sandbagging. You remember the old sandbagging
Oh
deal,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
carbon. But, and I'm waiting for a district governor. I'm sure you still have some of that. As a matter of fact, I know some of that happens, but the majority of it is money. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Holding
The
off so
billing
that,
cycle.
for the billing cycle. So, you know, to me, we didn't have any carryover. So we started from scratch and, keep coming this way around. What's going to change at the beginning of the year, we have close to 100 people in step three.
Wow. And this is a four-step process.
Four-step process.
Three
That means
steps in a
three.
party.
Yep,
So
three
once
steps
they
in a
get into
party.
that step three, they're just about ready for us to submit, and we submit the paperwork for
We
them.
do all that. Yeah, we do it all.
Eh,
And it's all free. And remember too, this is a volunteer funded effort. Most people out there, I get all the time, they say, "Do you guys work for Rotary?" And I'm like, "No, but a paycheck would sure seem pretty."
Yeah, it'd be
But
nice for
this is
that.
a volunteer led effort. Not just that, it's volunteer funded. Yeah, I mean, this is a volunteer funded effort, so this is not, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We know how to do this. Um, And there are lots of options. If you don't want to do a companion satellite, or if you don't want to do a community-based Rotaract Club, if you don't want to do anything like this, the club refresh is absolutely crushing right now.
It's
I mean,
super hot. It's
I mean,
super hot. For a club that is like, hey, I can't do it. I don't think we can work on Impact Club or a satellite club. Or what we're just trying to keep our head above water and keep from losing our members or replacing the attrition that naturally happens. How do we find anyone on our community? You're right. And that club refresh that was added just a few months ago. I get a ton of calls on that. I have a lot of meetings on club refreshes, and anyone in the club can say, "Hey, I want my club to be better. What do we do?" And it starts.
I mean, to me, building that ecosystem out includes club refresh because it not only will do what it needs to do for your club, which is get more members. It will also teach you the way to retain them. Okay, it's that reset.
How do we keep younger members? I mean, you get a younger member and they're there, but I see sometimes, they can't always make the lunches or whatever.
You know,
Those are
I mean,
those conversations. And you
those
mentioned ecosystem, so
you have to have the
yeah,
ecosystem. The ecosystem is like we were talking before. Everybody wants a 20-year-old. Everybody. You can go into any room and say how many people want more 20-year-olds in their club, and they're all going to raise their hand. And then I always ask them the follow-up question: what's the
what's the
average
draw, right?
variant? And they'll like say 70, and I'll be like, okay, we have to increase the lifespan of our Rotarian lifespan, basically. And because if I went to you, Todd, at 20 and said, hey, come Tuesdays at 12:30 for the next 50 years, I already know that you're not doing that. I know that I've probably got you for an average of 6 to 7 years on
Maybe.
average, maybe.
Yeah.
Because as life changes, so does the way that you can serve. So
And
the
jobs and
that's
family.
right, and family and taking care of your parents, the clubs that grow over the next decade are the clubs that are going to be able to create more pathways in and more options before people that leave. That's the ecosystem that you have to build. Because if you're going to build it going in knowing that you're only going to get 6.8 years of it out of every Rotarian because of the point in life that you're catching them on, and
Hmm.
if you can design a way where you can get that average Rotarian to do 15 or 20 years, brother man, we've got it then. I mean, that is exactly what we're working towards.
Now that flexibility. And how do you think? And we talk about this. We talk about that happens with companion clubs or making different time
Membership
slots
types
for
or
people to meet. And they also they want to we just want to lower those barriers to entry and allow them to form relationships.
it follows the Rotary action plan to the T. These people that go out and like, I believe in the action plan. I'm like, great, this is tailor made for it. Let's
Hmm.
figure it out. Because a lot of people, we still have, Todd, I don't know how surprised you are, but I still go into districts, get that first call in a district, go, and I get on there like, we've never had a satellite club here before. We've never had a companion club before. They've never even had a Rotaract. There's districts out there that have never had a Rotaract club, a
Hmm.
satellite club, a companion club, anything but standalone Rotary clubs. There's still so much space for us to move and grow in the United States and Canada here, as well as all over the world. And we just have to get that message out. So, I'm asking that anybody that watches this or absolutely watches us at a district conference and stuff, it's your job as a Rotarian to spread Rotary. It
Oh,
is. I mean, I'm not asking you to go out and recruit. If you're uncomfortable recruiting, don't worry about it. If you need help recruiting, call me. I don't care if you're in my district or call me. Call Todd. We'll help you. But
it's
here,
what we do. It's how we
because there's
serve.
certain people that feel comfortable, and I don't want anybody that feels uncomfortable to do that. There's other people that can do it, with you and help you, but you owe it to Rotary to take a look at what's working and help spread that. You know what I mean? Talk to when you're talking to other people. Let them know that there's a member cast. Let them know that there's the club creation team. Let them know that Todd, you were on a call recently, and you thought that you had gotten called because you're a member of the or leader of the club creation team, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "What?" Had no idea.
He didn't even know what the club creation team was. It
Had
was
no
it
idea.
was it was strange, and they were like, I guess they just said, "Oh well, we heard you do a lot with membership," and they didn't know why, and and then we ended up talking about it, and they were going crazy over this thing. They're like, wait a minute, club refresh, talk to me
Hmm.
about this." You talk about clubs aging sometimes. And I was at my district conference, 50/80, here a couple weekends ago, and I learned something. Someone brought this up. They
Well,
said,
hold on a second. You learned that
I
you're
learned
Rotarian
something.
of the year.
It
You got
was
you
fun.
learned
Yeah, yeah, okay. We had this round table type thing where we were sitting at a table and then like speed dating, and a group of people will come and sit at the table, and I talk about membership and where we're going and what things are happening. And then the next group would come in. It was a real hoot. It was a great time. And so we got a little bit more than like just a presentation. It was like a little bit more intimate. So there were some questions asked, and somebody brought up a kind of a neat idea or a neat concept, I guess, because we think about, okay, you've got your older retired or older Rotarians who are maybe they're not as active anymore. They're just there for breakfast or lunch or such. And then you've got your retired or recently retired Rotarians, and they're still active, they're youthful, and it's like, hey, how come they're not bringing members? And she nailed it. I wish I could remember so I could give her credit who it was. She said the reason that your retired Rotarians aren't bringing in members is because they're not out there meeting anybody outside of their circle, and their circle is Rotary. So they're who they're associating with, who they're having coffee with, who they meet is either Rotary. Otherwise, they go home and whatever it is they're doing, either if they're not working on a Rotary project, I don't know if they're whittling or what, but they're not out socializing with people outside because we've built this fabulous group of friends, thousands of them,
Yeah.
through Rotary. And then where do you turn? Where's your other group of friends that you haven't brought into Rotary?
Well,
Uh, and
let
so
me
these
address that real
working
quick.
people are still in that circuit where they're
Yeah.
meeting. We need to work with them.
Let me address that real quick
Yeah.
because I take it from the other angle. They might not have friends, but a lot of these near retired folks or permanently retired folks like
Yep.
you're in Rotary, but how many other things do you do? So I know for a fact that a lot of the Rotarians in my club, they're out doing service everywhere else. I mean,
Yep.
they're not just doing club service, they're out banging hammers at Habitat. They're out donating their time at Humane Society and the soup kitchen and stuff like this. They might not have a large group of friends there, but they're out doing the service. So whatever I always tell people, it's not what the Rotary clubs do, it's what the Rotarians do. So I try to harness what people are already doing in their community as a way to generate leads. So what I ask them, the only thing, if you don't feel comfortable, what's it called? Recruiting. I want you to be the best ambassador out there. I want you to wear your
There you
shirt,
go.
your pin, your cape to the soup kitchen, to the other places, and somebody's going to ask you about Rotary. And I know the people that don't like recruiting or attracting people to Rotary, which just seems rude. That's the reason why I use recruiting. I mean, hey, let me attract you to Rotary. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like pelts. But if, the people that feel uncomfortable initiating a conversation on it, they will not shut up if they're asked about it. If I asked you, a quiet person or somebody that's
Oh,
not,
sure.
if I ask them, "Hey, tell me about Rotary," man, they won't shut it. They'll talk about. So you got to create a space. And this is one of the things that I teach in membership. You have to create a space where somebody's going to ask you. And it doesn't mean the big old blue buttons that say, ask me about Rotary. I can guarantee you one thing. If I see you with a big old button on it that says, ask me about Rotary, there's one thing that's guaranteed. I'm not
I'm
asking
not
you about
asking
Rotary. I'm not
about.
asking you about it. So what do you have to do to create people? Actually, kind of funny. Look right behind me. Hold on. Let me go this way. You see this right here?
Yeah, Rose.
I made these shirts for people for a golf tournament that I did, but then everybody wanted them, and I started giving them out to people that longtime Rotarians that have never recruited anybody because I thought that they were doing. And every time I wear that out, what do people ask me?
What's that mean?
Rotarians offering service everywhere. Do you know about Rotary, Todd? Thank you for asking. Do you know anything about Rotary? It's a conversation starter. It's right then and there. So I try to
Yeah.
create ways and teach people ways to get somebody to ask you about Rotary um, without wearing a big blue pin that says "Ask me about Rotary."
That's a good point. Because you're right. You're not going to ask about it.
You know, I mean, I'm actually running away from that. If I see somebody, I'd be like, I mean, the majority of the people are going to do that. I mean,
Especially if you don't know anything about it,
that's
then
it.
it's just like ask me about any of these other things that I don't feel comfortable potentially feeling like I'm going to get pressured into. And
Or somebody comes knocking at your door and you know it's a door-to-door salesperson or whatever. Me and you, we're answering that door because we want to hear the pitch and then we're going to critique them. And,
oh yeah, we'll have a good conversation.
but
I'll say, listen,
there's other
man.
people who hide behind the old door like this and they ain't answering nothing and stuff like this. So, I mean, there are so many different types of personalities and people are great. You know, some of the people who might feel challenged in talking with somebody or going out and recruiting for Rotary and stuff like this. I get you. I feel you. My wife, it would absolutely kill her if she had to go out and recruit. But she puts herself in positions where somebody will ask, and as soon as they ask, she'll go, "I'm gonna have Patrick give you a call," or something like that. She recognizes that thing. So but she's great at all these other things that are in Rotary. So use the tools that you have. If you start thinking about your Rotary Club and the members that are in it, each person is a tool to do a certain job. I could never do as good of a foundation job as my foundation chair.
Yeah.
Uh, that's not my passion. I believe in it in the whole 9 yards, but that's not what I'm out driving. Same thing with Polio Plus, and same thing with youth services and stuff. We have to begin to see our members as people that we can cheer on their passions inside Rotary and have them lead the charge for those things and not force everybody. I think what happens in membership is they go to everybody. This is Rotary's thing or everything we've been taught and everything. Well, okay, every person needs to be recruiting, or every person just bring one, or everybody needs to have an elevator speech. Hell no, Todd. How many people in your club do you not want to have an elevator speech?
I'm not a big elevator speech guy. I've heard that's kind of a
I know,
buzzword
it's
on there,
crazy.
but it's like, hey, I don't need to memorize. Really, I mean, what is it you do? And here's how the way I approach is just invite someone to come along. Hey, we're gonna be working on a project or doing something. Do you want to volunteer with me today? And you know what? Pretty soon, you do that with people. Not only do you get help, they might be having a good time. And if people are showing a good time and having fun, they'll ask more, or you can prompt it. They'll have those conversations. And I've had several people that have joined after just spending some time with us.
Hmm.
That's what it's all about. No one wants to go to a meeting.
Go
Come to a
spend.
meeting.
Yeah, come here and listen to the meeting. That's the reason why we get the is this a cult thing. But could you imagine walking into a meeting for the first time where they stand up and it's one of the singing clubs?
Some are like that,
Yeah. Yeah, that would
or
that would freak a lot of people out. But if the people that you're recruiting, they're already doing service, go with them. Wear your Rotary shirt, your hat, your pin, and find out what they're doing and go with them and do service with them. That turns the tide, buddy.
we're almost done with season 3 of Membership Unplugged. This
Hmm.
pretty much wraps up today's ramblings of different directions from AI to membership to the Rotary Action Plan. So, Membership Unplugged, we drop a new episode every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, right on it goes on our YouTube channel. It's called Impact Studios, or you can find it easiest on our Facebook page at the North America Club Creation Team Facebook page. If you're not on there or following that, or subscribing to this, you're missing out. If you're into membership, join us, be part of it. Heck, come on the show. Golly, we're not even opposed if you want to come on and argue with it. In fact, Patrick loves that kind of stuff. So
Let's go.
join us. We're here right now. Until next week, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, bud. Talk
If you want to
soon.
dance out to this music, you can. I won't laugh at you.
I'm ready to go.
There you go. AI, they might question what you're doing.